Hi everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Voodoo Detective. We are checking out this very fancy looking estate in today's episode as we continue to look for clues on what exactly is happening to Mary. A lot of descriptions of her actually vary quite a bit, so there's something strange going on. Can we go to the greenhouse?
The greenhouse is locked. I'll need to find a key.
We cannot, and I actually sort of remember that being a thing last time out actually. We've got some very interesting topiaries here.
Man, this guy's loaded. We got a garden and a zoo.
Two birds, one stone.
Man, this guy's loaded. We got a garden and a zoo.
Okay, so it seems like clicking on these actually gives the same description. So we've got the Fontoul Mansion, which is
Sure, it's big, but is it huge?
I mean, looks pretty big. More topiaries over here. Anything else? No, it's just enter, I guess. Or try to, at least.
Good day, sir. How can I help you?
Good
My name
question.
is Voodoo Detective. I'm a voodoo private investigator.
Voodoo, you say? What, may I ask, brings you here?
Actually, I'm looking for a Mr. Fontoul. Victor Fontoul. That you?
Doubt it.
Oh, no, sir. I'm Benny, his butler.
Benny the Butler.
This is the Fontoul residence, but I'm afraid Mr. Fontoul is in a meeting at the moment. Perhaps you could come back another time.
No.
That's all right. I don't mind waiting inside.
Let's head in.
Mr. Fontoul should be finished presently.
Good. And while you're gone, I'm assuming you're going to go. Oh no, he's not. Well, we'll just have a snoop around, shall we?
It's a portrait of a fancy man.
Chandelier, very nice.
Looks like someone's afraid of the dark.
Nothing we can look at here. We can leave the mansion. Butler's quarters. I very much doubt he's going to let us in there. But apparently he is. Wow, this place is not to scale with the rest of the house, shall we say.
I think it's Leopold.
Okay, what have we got down here? Sherry bottles?
Empty. Looks like Benny Boy's been drinking more sherry than the Queen.
What's that? Hoodoo for butlers?
Hoodoo for butlers. A couple of chapters are bookmarked. Love spells and mind manipulation.
Ooh.
What have you been up to, Benny, old pal?
Interesting. That is certainly a clue, I would think. Anything in the desk? Ah,
There's a letter here addressed to Benny.
let's have a look at that.
Tear stains have blotted out some of the words. Benny, you have to stop. I don't know what he would do if he found... Besides, I can't just forget the way you treated me. I don't know what you're getting at, Hoodoo. You're scaring me. I'd like to remain friends, but you have to stop. Sincerely, I wonder if Mary wrote this.
Possibly. Maybe hinting at romantic involvement between the two people in this letter. It's a bookcase.
Opera records and romance novels. There's also handwritten sheet music. It says Benny and the Jest. A ballad about how my love life has been one grand joke.
Nice. Nice, okay. So, we've got the letter. We've got a camera, screwdriver, harmonica, pendant. I mean, we could go out and speak to Benny. We've also got this... So hoodoo is a combination of magic practices and spiritual traditions upheld by some within the voodoo community. So, he's been doing some sort of voodoo related stuff in here, which is very interesting. Owning a soul, we don't want that. Fubrew, a soporific, return an item to its owner. That could be interesting, because that could be something to do with the pendant, right? We don't want to possess anyone. Hot sauce, love hex. I mean, really the only one that rings a bell at the moment is this one. A black candle, a lodestone, lemon zest. Many household devices contain lodestone. Oh, magnets. Yeah, so I feel like we could maybe get some of these things. It's like a compass of some sort. Alright, well, we'll have to remember that. Maybe we've got to do something along those lines. I doubt we can go up here, but...
Listen, you old pit viper. I've stuck my neck out for you financing this new factory of yours.
All right, all right. Calm yourself, dear boy. No need to get excited.
Well, if I'm excited, it's your fault. Quid pro quo, Victor, you slippery worm. I don't like all this cloak and dagger nonsense.
Just a little professional discretion, Gordon. We don't want anyone stealing our recipes, do we?
Discretion? I don't care a fig for your discretion. I care about what's being done with my money.
What recipes would they be talking about?
Be it is, my friend. I'll explain it all at the shareholders' meeting. For now, please trust that things are progressing on schedule and as planned.
I don't like being left in the dark, Victor. I don't like it at all. You'd better have some answers next time we meet.
He's not very happy.
Sir, a voodoo detective is here to see you.
A detective?
Voodoo Detective, Mr. Fontour. I was hoping we could talk.
I see. Well, why don't you join me in my office?
Okay. Kind of want to speak to this guy first.
Well, if it isn't Benny the butler.
Mr. Fontour will see you now. He's upstairs in his office.
Okay, maybe we can speak to him afterwards. I'm hoping we didn't miss out on a conversation there by going up the stairs, but we'll see. Okay, it's a map.
It's a map of a place called Venture's Island.
Okay.
That's right. Island Ventures has big plans for Ventures Island.
That's somewhat confusing. Some curiosities, a wedding photo.
Lots of elegant leather-bound books. Just the kind you expect in a fancy office.
A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one.
Interesting.
You've got quite the collection here. I don't even know what most of this stuff is.
Ah, yes. Those are from the old days before Island Ventures. I used to travel all over the world, collecting bits and bobs from hither and yon. I find different cultures completely fascinating. It's a bit of a hobby.
Okay. Let's look at this wedding photo.
Looks like a wedding photo.
Ah, what a happy day that was. Bloom of the peach, blush of the berry. My sweet, sweet Mary.
Right.
No comment on Mary potentially looking different to in this photo though, which is interesting, I suppose. Got some more curiosities here.
You've got quite the collection.
Okay,
here.
he's just going to say the same thing
I
as
don't
he.
even know what most of this stuff is.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the skip.
I used to travel. I find.
Of course, we've heard that already.
Nothing compliments a hot day like a roaring fire.
Yeah.
Except perhaps a trench coat.
Alright, let's speak to Victor
I
then.
do apologize for the excitement out there. When in business, one must deal with all sorts of people. Especially when you require funding.
What was that argument about?
Well, Island Ventures' subsidiary, Island Kitchen, is preparing to launch a new line of food. I'm holding the cards pretty close to my chest to avoid any leaks. Gordon doesn't like that. But surely that has nothing to do with why you've come to see me. Unless you, too, wish to inquire about the particulars of our new secret recipes?
What recipe would this be?
I'm here on behalf of my client, your wife.
Mary? My God, I've been worried sick. Is she all right? She'd been acting like a completely different person, and then she just up and left.
Huh. So he noticed a behavioural difference, which is interesting. So perhaps he isn't involved in whatever's happening with Mary.
I've got some questions about your wife.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Let's start with anyone new.
Was Mary spending time with anyone new prior to her memory loss?
Not that I know of. My work requires frequent travel, and Mary always insists on joining me. Couple that with a proclivity for solitude, and she isn't left with much opportunity to make new acquaintances. At least none that I would be unaware of.
Fine. Mary's friends?
Does Mary have any close friends?
Mary keeps largely to herself, but she does visit with my nephew's wife on occasion. Her name is Kiki Lawton.
Yeah, ah. Interesting.
What do you know about Mrs. Lawton?
Kiki is the wife of my nephew, Theodore, but I'm afraid I don't know her very well.
So Kiki's the one that we met at the pool, right?
If you don't mind, I've got other questions.
Who would hurt Mary?
Do you know of anyone who would want to harm Mary?
Heavens, no. Everyone loves Mary. She's kind and good. She never bothers anyone. Her mind would have to be truly unhinged to harm a sweet, delicate flower like Mary.
Okay, Mary's past.
What do you know about Mary's past?
I'm afraid very little. I know both of Mary's parents died when she was young, and she has no siblings. But she doesn't like to talk about her past, and I don't wish to reopen old wounds.
I mean, they're married though. Surely this would have been talked about to some extent.
Mary was given this pendant around the time she lost her memory. Look familiar?
Why, yes. She brought it to me shortly after her memory trouble began. We never were able to find out where it came from.
Huh.
Do you think it has anything to do with her amnesia?
I don't know yet.
So it does seem like he's not involved in this pendant business.
That's enough about your wife for now.
Let's ask about him.
Do you mind if I ask some personal questions?
Go right ahead.
Your wealth.
You've amassed quite the fortune. Got any greedy-eyed next of kin looking for a slice of inheritance pie?
No, nothing like that. The only family I have aside from Mary is my nephew, Theodore Lawton. He runs a law practice downtown and works as my lawyer.
Fine.
And if you and Mary were out of the picture, he would stand to inherit quite a lot of lettuce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you suggesting that Theodore is trying to kill my wife?
I'm not suggesting anything, just exploring possibilities.
Have you got any enemies?
Do you know of anyone who might want to do you harm? Someone who might go after your wife to get to you?
In business, one has many competitors. And of course, if you're successful, there are bound to be those who look on with covetous eyes. But business is about optimizing profit, Detective. And there is no profit in harming a man's wife.
Alright.
That's enough about you for now.
I mean, we can't seem to ask about Benny, which is interesting, because I'm a little bit suspicious of him, if I'm honest.
Can you let me into the greenhouse?
My butler, Benny, manages the grounds here.
Ah, maybe this will help.
You'll have to ask him about it. Though he has become a bit more particular about whom he lets in, since his tiff with the local barman.
Oh, yeah? Right, it doesn't seem like we can ask about that.
That's all for now.
Godspeed, Detective.
But maybe we can ask Benny about that. It's possible. So yeah, I'm thinking... I don't really suspect him being involved in anything. It seems like maybe he's also
Well,
a bit
if
of
it isn't Benny the butler.
a target.
Hello, Detective. What can I do for you?
Benny, on the other hand, something slightly suspicious. Mary Fontoul?
What can you tell me about Mrs. Fontoul?
Mary is a good woman. She's always been generous to me. She used to sit for hours with that kind, blank stare of hers, listening to my opera when no one else would. It was unlike her to leave the way she did. I've been so worried. I do hope she's all right.
Mary's behaviour?
Did you notice anything strange about Mary before she lost her memory?
Not that I can recall. She seemed every bit her normal, quiet self. Completely imperturbable, as though a veil of calm separated her from the troubles of the world.
I wonder if he could have done the whole pendant thing.
Did Mary start spending time with anyone new prior to her memory loss?
I don't think so. She only really spent time with Mr. Fontule and her friend Kiki Lawton. And myself, of course. The dear.
Who would hurt Mary?
Do you know of anyone who would want to harm Mary?
No, I don't. Mary never hurt or offended anyone. Frankly, she didn't interact with all that many people to begin with.
Do you know anything about this pendant?
I've got this gold pendant here. Have you ever seen it?
Sorry, no.
Very blunt.
If you don't mind, I have a few other questions.
So I'm wondering if we do need to do that spell to sort of track the origin of the pendant. Victor Fontule?
What can you tell me about Mr. Fontule?
Mr. Fontule is a beneficent gentleman. I can make no complaints about the time I've spent working under his employ.
Okay.
But even if I could, it's not a butler's place to say such things.
What things? Do you live here?
Do you live here?
Why, yes. My quarters are adjacent to the staircase.
Alright, we was honest about that. Greenhouse access?
Can you let me into the greenhouse?
I'm afraid not.
Why is that?
The Fontule greenhouse represents a spectacular botanical achievement. The variation in provenance among the flora we cultivate requires careful attention. The only way to maintain precise control over the environment is to limit the number of visitors we allow in.
Alright, well...
That's why I'm the only one with a key. I am sorry.
I mean, straight away, that makes me think there's something going on in there that he doesn't want anyone to know about. Letters in your room?
I got this letter here addressed to you.
Where did you get that? Have you been in my room?
Yeah, I'm a detective, man.
This looks awfully bad, Benny boy.
Yeah, it does.
A letter from someone who doesn't appreciate your attentions. A book of hoodoo in your room. And Mary Fontule wakes up without her memory. Care to explain?
Yeah, looks suspicious if you ask
You
me.
have been in my room. Mr. Detective, I resent what you're insinuating, and I absolutely cannot abide you invading my privacy.
Why are you so defensive?
I have nothing but respect and admiration for Mary Fontule. She's my dear friend, and one of the few people to show interest in my opera. I will speak no more on the matter.
Wow. That was a very odd reaction.
Thanks, Benny.
And that makes me even more suspicious of him, to be honest. So we will continue on with our investigations in the next one, potentially looking to make him one of these spells as well, I think. So as always, thank you very much for watching. A big thank you to my patrons, Arcades Games, Wayne, Nate, Terminally Nerdy, Paul from the Phantom Fellows, Lyle, Barry Aldridge, Hobo, Numinous, Kubidan, and Paul Leone. And I'll see you next time.